from when one person hits the other person, you're only going to see one light turn on. So if you see both lights, both persons score. So if you see, what do we have? So Gabri on the left, so I love this side of the gym. If Gabri scores, we'll cheer them on. And Dan on the right, so this Dan scores. Dan's going to win already, he has the home crowd. So Gabri. And Dan. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is they're going to come together and they're going to test to make sure all the electronics will work. So they're just going to tag the guard. The guard should not count, it's a metal surface, it's grounded out, so they're just going to hit the guards. We call that testing, make sure all the electronics are working. So Dan, go ahead and hit the stage 4. So if Dan scores, you're going to see the green light. Wait for that. Gabri's going to hit the floor. Red light.
Yeah, Gabri,
I think you know what you're on. All right, so Vincent's on guard. So they show you the on guard position. All right, on guard. Go ahead, Gabri, switch your right leg in front instead of there you go. Now you go. All right, ready? Fits. Short there on these attacks. Dan uses very good distance control. Let's see if we can look up for that. On guard. All right, on guard, fencers. Ready? I'm referee. Referee, ready? Fence.
All right, let's go, Gabri.
Very near hits here. Don't get too excited if you hit the floor. On guard, no point. Floor hit first, on guard. Nice try, ready? Fence. Safety first, and Dan got so excited it started coming off of him. On guard. Ready? Fence. Gabri's play bent a little bit backwards, but that was a very good display. Attack on the blade. He continues, he deceives Dan's block, attempts to block the blade, and scores again. All right, fence is ready. Fence. Double touch, they both scored at the exact same time. Very nice. Fence is back on guard. Guys, it's only like 4 touches. We're going to go 3 more points. 3 more points, we'll call it good. So, first to 2, we'll clinch it. We'll fence all 3. On guard. Ready? Fence!
Let's go, Gabri!
Gabri takes the lead, 1-0. Fence is ready. Fence!
Kill him, Gabri!
Bang him on.
Dan had him on the ropes, but Gabri uses his blade to defend himself. All right, final left touch. Fence is ready. Fence!
Throw your sword!
Come on, Gabri!
the match, we're going to take our mask off, and we'll salute and shake hands with our opponent. So go ahead and mask up.
Salute us.
Salute your opponent, salute the audience. Pick a weapon, bring a green weapon over your head, green down your chin. Try to make a cool swishing noise. There you go. And shake hands, thank you very much. Give them a round of applause. Another random bit of fencing trivia is that fencers almost always shake with their offhand. So if you're right-handed, you always shake with the left hand. So you kind of see an awkward handshake with the gloved hands that are trying to hold on to the weapon. Generally, a fencer would always shake with the other hand. We have a couple more minutes for questions. Do you have any, after that display, do you have any other questions about the sport? Question there? If they get disarmed, good question. So it is, the disarming happens, you immediately go to make your point. The attack for the person disarming them will continue and count. If I disarm them, the weapon falls out of their hand, the referee would come in and stop the action. And at that point, it's what we call a tempo or full action afterwards, then they would call a halt and it wouldn't count. So if it's immediately a disarmament, an immediate hit, then they would allow it to count, otherwise it wouldn't count.
I've heard that fencers are, in swimming, usually between 16 years old and 20 years old, you're at your best, but it's different in fencing. Is that true?
That's true. Fencing is a very different sport than that. When I started the sport of fencing, I started in high school, actually. I started when I was 15. And so for me, to start at 15, and I was homeschooled, but for me to start at 15 and go all the way to the Olympics, World Championships, and all those things, for that late, it's kind of a late start. But you can start as early as 6, and as late as 60. We have people start from all different age groups, and we teach everything. So it's kind of a big range group. For what men's epic we just watched, the best age group that they see at their peak is between 30 and 36. So it takes a lot of time. It's a lot of, you can see a lot of coordination, but a lot of that later on is very mental. They talk about fencing as being a game of physical chess. So you're walking out there and watching this back and forth. A fencer is watching and saying, what kind of reactions do you do? What is your primary defense? How would I solve that? It's like an ultimate game of rock, paper, scissors. For everything that you can throw, I can find an action that counters that action. So you're constantly trying to stay 1, 2 moves ahead of your opponent. So, question. Are you allowed to use your legs to kick or stomp? If you want to distract your opponent, I guess maybe you can do that. Again, the whole body counts, so really you can almost use anything. You're not allowed to use your back hand to move the weapon, but if they hit it, it wouldn't matter anyway, you'd still be scored on. So you're allowed to kind of do what you want to do to move around, find your spot in sport. So a lot of people have like unique things they bring to the game. Advantage or disadvantage being left-handed. So the interesting thing about being left-handed is there are fewer lefties out there. So the advantage to being lefty is just that people aren't as used to fencing you. If you're a righty, fencing a righty, their hand can be on the opposite side as your hand. So that's the primary look that you're going to see when competing against a righty. And now with a lefty, it's going to be lined up on the same side as you are, as you're facing your opponent. There really is technically no advantage, only that people don't. So for the same reason, lefties don't like fencing lefties either, because it's still the opposite of what they're used to. If you're used to fencing a lefty, there's no advantage, because you're used to that different angle and you're used to the different technique changes that would happen. Over there?
In the event of a tie break, is it a judge's decision or is it just null by one?
Very good. In the case of a tie break at the very end, if you saw a double touch, let's say we're going to 5, the score was 4-4, it would just be a null. If it's tied and the time runs out, there'll be an overtime period. Prior to the overtime period of the coin toss, whoever wins the coin toss has the priority in the overtime period. Should no one score in the 1 minute overtime, that person who won the coin toss would win the match. Basically what it does is it just makes sure that if one fencer was very defensive versus offensive, it forces me to have to go out of my shell. If I'm a defender, I'd have to go after them. I've never seen a match really end where the time just ran out and I won, or somebody won. Basically, and that requires that someone has to push the other athlete down and make a touch happen. So that's just kind of their way of putting emphasis on having to make an action happen during the 1 minute overtime. Good question.